right, welcome back to All Hitches, NoVA's #1 football podcast. Coach Mesa, how's it going today, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Yourself?
I'm doing really good, buddy, because the Raiders got A pluses across the board from all the pundits. You
Yeah.
name it, from ESPN to NFL Network to Bleacher Report. You name it. I saw the Raiders and I saw A. It's good to have grown-ups back in the building again running things.
Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to the post draft grades because I think I told you I saw Pete Carroll's first draft with the Seahawks. They got a grade of F. In that draft, they drafted Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson. But
Not bad. Not
the
bad
day
at
after,
all.
day after, they got a grade of F. They're like, that's why Pete Carroll showed why he's not an NFL coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. So, I mean, I mean, and I think it's fans, right? Like all the D line we were taking, I'm like, ooh, look at that guy, look at that guy. But I know in my heart of hearts, you hope that three of them pan out, right? Is what you hope. You hope three guys in the draft pan out and are pretty good. So,
Well, I'm not going to let you ruin your negativity, ruin my coronation and my celebration of the new regime, Spy Tech and Carroll in Vegas.
yeah,
So I am excited. I don't see that very often. Let me put it this way, though. I see a lot of Fs by the Raiders every year,
yeah,
and they are Fs. Okay, so that'll counter what you're saying. I see a lot
yeah.
of well-deserved Fs every year by the Raiders. Now the Raiders have been better recently. Brock Bowers and company last year,
Yeah.
they had a couple of good picks, but I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Well, I mean, Pete Carroll's a plan, right? I mean, Pete Carroll is a borderline Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
I mean, how many coaches have a national football, a national college championship, and a Super Bowl to win?
Did he lose that title? Was it pulled?
Maybe they might have taken it. I don't know. I mean,
No, it didn't get taken.
they won two of them. So
Yeah, I think one of them stood. I think one of them he kept one
they
of
may
them at
have
least.
taken one. I don't know. That being said, I mean, I've been a Pete Carroll, big Pete Carroll. I mean, he was a great coach at SC. I mean, that was really good there. I hated him when he was a Seahawks, but obviously he shows he can coach, right? I mean, he went to the Seahawks and turned them
Yeah,
around.
for sure.
And he'll make the tough choices, right? Because remember, he signed Matt Flynn,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
he was like, nope, they got Russell Wilson's my guy, and started him. So
Yep.
I think that he's willing to make the bold choice.
Oh, speaking of the draft, right? A lot of Nova guys making some impacts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
On day one, you had Ohio State take Tyler Williams.
At a
Right,
uni read, I think they might have still on Jackson. He was there probably. Right?
Yeah, right. So formerly Stonewall, currently Unity Reed. Then you had
The guy
defensive back from Rutgers,
oh
Coach
yeah,
Longerbeam's son.
at a AC.
Right, not AC.
It was TC when he was there, right?
Was it TC?
It was probably TC when he was there.
Oh, I guess you're right. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, it would be. And then, but the coach is his dad is coaching over at.
Oh yeah,
Woodward.
yeah. But I'm saying he was at Alexander,
Right.
Or
So-
at a time TC Williams.
Yeah, but yet you got local coach, his son, staying local at Baltimore. People were saying that maybe there could be an opening there if he would have gotten drafted over in somewhere far away.
Yeah.
But look at that. I think that's cool because if you're a local coach and your son or family member is playing in the big leagues,
Yeah.
and they're nearby,
Yeah.
you can start bringing people over to give some nice talks to some of your kids.
Yeah. I mean, big moment for them. I think I was talking about.
No, we got one more. You got one more. Eugene Asante from Westfield, undrafted free agent to Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. It's going to have to work through that. I mean, definitely. But I mean, congratulations to those guys.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's amazing.
But I think I told you, Virginia in general had 10 players drafted, which is more than places that are considered football hotbeds, like Pennsylvania and Ohio. They had two more of the.
That's impressive.
That's impressive, especially per capita. For what's worth, and as much as I love California, California only had 16 players drafted, and they had a ton more people in California than
Yeah.
So, but I do think, and we were talking a little bit earlier, Virginia, but I think Southern Virginia in general, I don't think gets the credit. I mean, they had 8 players drafted, out of that very small area.
Yeah.
I don't think I mean, you hear enough about Southern Virginia. I mean, they produce NFL Hall of Famers, right? I mean, Charles Haley, Bruce Smith came from down there. Mike Vick is not gonna probably won't be a Hall of Famer, but he was a huge star. Um,
Right.
I don't think Virginia and Southern Virginia in particular does not get the kind of credit it does.
Well, I think the beach area gets a lot of credit.
But I don't think nationally. I mean, because
I don't
there's
know. I wouldn't know the perception. I'm
I,
hearing the
I,
thick of
I,
things, but
I mean, you never hear about it, right? You never hear any pundits being like, "Oh, you hear about Miami, right? You hear about,
oh yeah, in terms
you
of
know what I mean?
that, for
Like you
sure.
hear about regional places that produce a lot of talent, and I don't
Right.
think Southern Virginia in particular, gets enough credit for being.
No, you're right about that from elsewhere looking at us.
Yeah,
But internally, I'll say this: looking at Nova, you said 10 guys,
yeah,
two from this area,
yeah,
right? Could I mean it was almost three. Like I said, Asante was pretty high on some of the people's boards that I read, and he was one
yeah.
of the first guys taken by Miami as undrafted free agent. But 2 out of 10, um, and you're talking about, uh, you know, no one talks within Virginia. Nova doesn't get a lot of respect.
No, no, not at all. Yeah, I think in particular, I think probably basketball might overshine it, which is weird because, I mean, not a lot of guys making the NBA from this area. I mean, basketball is good. Don't get me wrong. We produce a lot
Right.
of D1 guys out of here, but I think when you think of the DMV area in particular, it seems like it's a bigger basketball.
Basketball for sure. You don't think football, you think DMV.
You think basketball.
Right.
That being said, I was looking just kind of per capita. Georgia had like 25 people drafted. They're only like they have total population is 11 million people in the whole state. So I've
Wow.
heard for a while Georgia is where it's at. Like Georgia football is really good. So I mean that sounds like it. And Texas, Florida.
Yeah, you're seeing it with the players coming out of Georgia, right?
Yeah,
Every year.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember, was it last year where like they had like 9 guys drafted from one school?
yeah,
It was
yeah.
something crazy like that.
Yeah. What was who were the two guys who played together? Well, actually, no, that's out of California. They're out of Servite High School, which is Catholic high school out there. Um, but
Yeah, so just
yeah, I think it's interesting. Like I said, the fact that I was really surprised. I mean, I think Virginia had three on day one. I think
yeah,
in particular had three people taken on day. I mean, that's
yeah,
10% of the people who got drafted in the NFL came from Virginia, which was pretty
yeah.
pretty
That's
cool.
impressive. Yeah, it was a fun weekend. NFL does it right. I love. I mean, they'd really drag it out for every dollar, but it's fun, and I had a good time watching the
Yeah.
draft. I watched all of Thursday night, and then Friday I tried to watch some when I got back in from lacrosse game, and then Saturday I was kind of looking at my phone a lot. So, but it's just a fun weekend. Now,
You know what though? I'm an old curmudgeon. Give me the hotel ballroom with Pete Rozelle walking up on top of the top of the stage with uh 30 uh pop-up tables and guys in steel chairs. Give me that. Give me that. I want
well, I don't want that.
that.
No, I'm serious. I don't want that. And I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I do want. I don't want this. I'll tell you what I do want. It is, and like I said, it's a fun weekend. I was watching old clips from like the
Yeah.
90s. I
Yeah.
want that. So I was watching,
Radio City Music Hall is what you want.
yeah. So Paul Tagliabue, and ESPN was the only one covering it. And they would go, and what really stuck out to me watching it, some of the old clips, they'd have a reporter almost at every stadium or every office,
Yeah.
and they'd be like, "We're going to kick it out to Sal Palantonio, who's in Philly. We're going to
Yeah.
kick it out to so and so who's over
Yeah.
here." And you had someone right there saying,
Yeah.
"Okay, I just got out of the war room. This is what they're talking about." Now it's like it almost feels WWE ish now,
Yeah.
right?
Which WWE guys doing the announcements. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
don't know. Give me the hotel ballroom. Give me guys in short sleeve collared shirts with ties with sweat stains, smoking cigarettes. Give me
right.
those. Give me that. Give me that. I'm old. I want to see that again,
Yeah, you
guys.
want guys yelling at Mel Kiper and
Yes,
making fun of him.
sweating right here. Smoking some Camel non filters.
That's right. Kick it out to Peter King. Let Peter King break it down for you.
Yeah,
But it was a fun weekend. And speaking of fun, there was a 7-on-7 this weekend, my friend.
yeah. At Osbourn Park.
Kind of kicked things off, right? It was the
Yeah.
sort of the kickoff of the 7-on-7 season.
Little had to fight the conditions, raining a little bit. Yeah, I mean, but it was fun watching some guys throw the football. Got to see Coach Slay was there. Got to talk to him for a quick second.
Yeah, so I couldn't make it. I had some stuff going on. I know you went until the range kicked you off the
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
Our good friend, the Adam Schefter of Nova, Carl Frederick was there. He's going to join us in a few minutes. I can't wait to hear some of your guys' observations. You've been kind of giving me some little nuggets here and there, and I'm kind of liking what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so I watched early on. I watched Oakton, but Oakton I think was without their two of their best players. They were out there, a quarterback, and without Dalen Jones. They weren't there. At least
Oh, that's at a 7-on-7. That's kind of tough.
yeah. So they're playing a kid who's probably gonna end up being their backup. Who knows? Might win the job. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Things happen in camp. But obviously they had a starter from last year who was a sophomore. Who
Right.
probably the job is his to lose. They got there, but they competed well. They were playing. I got to see Freedom High School out of Woodbridge for the first time.
Oh, Coach Ronga.
I see Coach Raga out there.
Did you have a chance to talk to Coach Ronga and tell him to join us on the show sometime?
I did not.
Hey, there's our guy. There he is, the incomparable, the Adam Schefter of Nova. Carl J. Frederick is joining us.
What's up, gentlemen? How we doing?
Good.
Oh, we just got finished breaking down NFL draft weekend. The Raiders got A+ across the board, so I know we're excited about that. But we just started talking about the 7-on-7. So Mesa ran to his car when it started raining. But Carl, I mean, if I know Carl, that's the reporter that he is. He was out there in the freaking range. He was toughing it out.
And that it was raining, but the beauty was it was only about, I want to say 65 degrees, so it wasn't overly hot. I loved every minute of it. I got to be honest. I mean, coming Coach, I was talking to you about the 7-on-7 I was at a couple weeks ago and the fiasco that it was. I mean, I always I'm iffy about going to these 7-on-7s, but as Coach Mason will tell you, this is not just a 7-on-7. They had a lineman challenge. Overall, it was outstanding. I didn't care that it was raining or that my face is now burnt from that's from my kids' flag football today. It's all worth it. Football is life, and I thought Coach Holland and his staff did a great job.
Yeah. That's you had mentioned that, and then I think I saw who was it? Someone I think it was it one of the West Springfield coaches, if I'm not mistaken? I'm thinking on Twitter was also saying the same thing.
Coach Parker.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Coach Parker. I knew it was someone from West Springfield. Coach Parker had just said that same thing. He said it was a well-run, smooth event.
It really was. It really was. Coach Holland, he's been talking about this for a couple months now, as you guys know, and he's really working his tail off over there since the second year going on at Osbourn Park. And they did some nice things yesterday, but it was a welcoming atmosphere. The concession stands open. I like to eat, so that was great. But I mean, the kids were competing, and sure there might have been trash talk, but everybody was in line, and which was really impressive too, because a lot of the refs were coaches there. They didn't have a lot of officials there. There were so many games going on, but they did a great job with that. And the lineman challenge, I don't know if Coach Mason got to see that at all. I mean, as a former lineman, I enjoyed that more than most, probably.
Yeah, I guess last week's episode, Mason and I were talking about talking to Coach Aziz, and we mentioned how great well run his 7-on-7s were back in the day at Falls Church, and someone needed to fill that void. And who knows, maybe Coach Holland and Osbourn Park could be the new kings of the 7-on-7 around here. We'll see.
I mean, Coach Holland and his staff get an A+ from me. Thought it was really well done. Keep in mind too, we got more 7-on-7s coming up. Garfield has one May 17th, I believe, and Flint Hill. They always have a great series going on. I believe it's in June. And Oakton has a big one coming up. Coach Slate told me they might have like 100 teams at his early June. Yeah.
Whoa, really?
That's June 14th. Yes.
Wow. And right near Santini's. I mean, you get some curly fries and you sandwich, and you head over to the 7-on-7. You can't beat that.
The one when we went, that we'd go to Santini's after after the end of the once we got eliminated from the tournament that we did.
Orange soda, extra ice. I mean, that's how you do it.
Soda, extra ice. Yep.
That's right. Mason knows.
Yeah.
Man, that's good stuff. So don't forget, Westfield does their weekly one too. They kind of go, it's kind of low key, a little more low key.
No, I mean, you're wherever you're at. I think in Northern Virginia, I mean, you're seeing good football no matter where you're at. I mean, there was a lot of good teams, a lot of good players this past Saturday out in Manassas, and there was a lot of other kids in Northern Virginia in different parts, like either on visits or other 7-on-7 tournaments. So I think wherever you're at in Northern Virginia for 7-on-7s, you're bound to see good football. That's my homer bias right there coming in. I don't care.
Yeah. So I was really impressed with there was one team in particular that impressed me. It was Wakefield. I thought they looked really good.
Wakefield, okay.
Really explosive. Yeah, I thought they had some really good playmakers. I didn't catch the names. I talked to Coach Henderson for a little bit, but there was a couple kids. He plays receiver and safety, and he looked pretty dynamic. I thought their quarterback looked really good.
Judah Connor, yeah.
The other thing was, I mean, their play call was really aggressive. They were pushing the ball down the field. They weren't, throwing these little crossing routes. I mean, they were going vertical a ton when I was watching them.
Well, I can answer that one. Now, my understanding that and I'm a Henderson guy. Caleb Henderson was calling the plays.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like Caleb.
Yeah. And I remember Aiden loved Caleb, and Caleb is uber aggressive.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
But I thought they looked really good. I got to watch them. I watched Woodson play for a little bit. It looks like they've got some guys who can play over there at Woodson. Emmett Murphy looked really good. I thought Emmett Murphy looked really good. But well,
let's slow down a little bit here. Let's go back to Wakefield now. You got a list of any of the guys on that. You said there was a good receiver over there, at least one that stood out to you. Carl, you don't have any of the receivers on that squad?
Well, a couple things about Wakefield. I don't have the receiver's name, but to Coach Mason's point, there's a different vibe I got with Wakefield there. They feel like they're going to make some noise in that conference. I definitely got that vibe, and I was very impressed with them. The quarterback I really like, and I could tell. I remember talking to you, Coach Dash, about that going into that. Judah Connor, he's a nice player. I like the way he handles the offense, and he seems like he's going to have in for a big year. But I missed a little bit of Wakefield because I was over in the lineman challenge. But their defensive lineman, I talked to Coach Henderson about this too. We talked a little bit. He loves you guys, by the way. Jeremiah McCray, one of their defensive linemen in the lineman challenge, really stood out. He is 6'5", close to 300 pounds. This kid is a borderline FBS talent. I really saw that. I mean, he's really raw, but in terms of the lineman challenge for Wakefield, I mean, Wakefield, they might make some noise this year. I got a good vibe from them.
Well, I thought one of the good, I guess you could call it free agent acquisitions, right, was Coach Henderson. I mean, you bring in, a guy with that experience as your, I guess he's the OC on paper over there. And in my mind, I know he's not listed as an assistant head coach, but when you bring a guy with that kind of experience, he's sort of an assistant head coach. And you got him, helping out over there. And then he brings, like we just said a second ago, Caleb with him.
Yeah.
You bring a former, top 10 quarterback in the nation, recruit in the nation,
right,
who was also happened to be a former college quarterback coach at Clarion and Georgetown, and you're bringing him over with you. That's pretty good. That's good help nowadays. And as we know, coaching staffs are having a hard time finding good help nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, positive vibes in Wakefield. I definitely got that. Back to Woodson though. I saw some nice players out there. I agree with Coach Mason. Emmett Murphy looks like a nice talent. I believe he's going to be a junior this year, correct?
Yeah.
But in terms of a rising senior, and Dash, I was talking to you about this earlier today. Jim Sandino, he's kind of a stud, man. More colleges should be looking at Jim. Is it Sandino? I talked to him.
Yeah. You heard of the great Santini? This is the great Sandino is who this is.
Yeah.
He's a stud. What's he like, 6'4", 230?
Yeah, he's a big guy, strong guy. I mean, he can catch. I'll tell you what, because he's a 3 year. He'll be a 3-year starter this year.
Okay.
And Mason and I were last there on staff his sophomore year, and he's struggling. You know, when this is not a knock on him. This is a young guy starting on a team full of seniors, and he got to start at starting tight end, and he kind of struggled with the dropsies a little bit, right, his sophomore year, and he's worked hard to kind of become a better pass catcher, and he has become one.
I thought I saw some nice things out of him. I thought he made a couple of nice catches. I believe they were facing either Roosevelt or Blue, one of the good DC teams that were on hand, and he made some tough catches against some good opponents. I see big things for him. He's in one of my articles in terms of for Prep Redzone too, and players that stood out. Sandino's a player.
Yeah, and Emmett Murphy, because Mace had called me and said Emmett looks good. And then I got to watch. He put some of his highlights out there, and I got to watch some of his clips. He looked phenomenal out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was good vibes with Woodson too. You know, they were competing. I mean, some of these teams like West Springfield, you know, looked like one of the better teams there. Roosevelt was 7-3 in a really good conference in one of the DC leagues. So I mean, they weren't necessarily on their level, but I saw good things out of Woodson as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead, Mason.
No, I'm going to say you brought up West Springfield. I thought West Springfield looked really good. They have a couple of quarterbacks. They don't just have one. They rotated a few guys in who can spin it. Like they looks like they're pretty deep at quarterback. DB wise, receiver wise. I mean, it looks like they've lost quite a bit from last year's team. You know, they've graduated some real key players, but it looks like they are not rebuilding. Looks like they are reloading.
I agree, Coach. West Springfield. As soon as Scott Lewis was in it was his brother Kyle Lewis that was the other quarterback. That's when they rotate. They're both ballers. Scott Lewis is the one who kind of took over mid last season, and they kind of stabilized offensively at least. I mean, and yeah, they graduated a lot, but they had a lot coming back. West Springfield, in terms of Virginia teams, was the best team there on Saturday. You're 100% correct. They almost won the whole thing. I believe Roosevelt took them. I mean, they gave Roosevelt everything they can handle by all reports. But Scott Lewis, he's about 6'3", 220 pounds. He's coming to our showcase next week. He was slinging it.
He's young too. What year is he?
Scott will be a senior.
Oh, he is a rising senior. Okay, his brother. What year's his brother?
I think Kyle's going to be a junior, but he played. Okay. They're both good. I mean, they came. You guys saw Scott last year, and I've seen him. He came to our showcase in January. He was one of our top performers, and yeah, I'm just checking Kyle Lewis now. He's impressive too. And but they have other guys. Evan Shorter, he's a rising senior. He made a lot of plays at defensive back. Wow, I was really impressed.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know.
Yeah. Anthony Bello, he's a senior, big tight end. This is the year of tight ends in Northern Virginia high school football. There's a lot of dudes, a lot of studs, including Kleppel and McLean I'll talk to you about. But Anthony Bello, he might have been one of the biggest kids there. He's going to be a big-time prospect.
Was Bello the former quarterback? They moved to tight end?
He was a running quarterback, right? He was the guy that brought back from the ball. Yeah. I
remember him late last year. He kind of came on the scene late last year, and he looked good. He looked really good.
Yeah.
I saw that they advanced to the final, West Springfield, in a pretty good game against Roosevelt. So, yeah, good things coming from West Springfield. And you say they reloaded. I mean, once upon a time, you would have said a West Springfield team was reloading. So, congrats to Coach Parkers. I'll say, they've really righted that ship over there, huh?
Yeah, no, I got a pissed off vibe from West Springfield on the way I could tell those guys. Again, it was just 7-on-7, but Coach Parker and his staff, they're pissed off how last season turned out. They got their butts whipped by Lake Braddock. They look motivated, and everybody's saying they graduated a lot of kids, and they did, but they look reloaded. They have a lot of kids coming back too.
Well, I mean, they did graduate the Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, they do have to fill some holes. I mean, and then the other back, why can't I think of his name? 23, Davies.
Mark Anthony White.
Davies.
No, I'm talking about both of them, right? So both.
Oh yeah, but Davies wasn't there. Davies will be back. He was playing baseball.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that's huge for them. The one team I didn't get to see, Carl, that I just get a chance to watch them was Robinson. But Robinson had an army there. They had a lot of kids. They probably the most anybody there. I mean, they had an army. I mean, it looks like they've really got. I mean, at the very least, they must have depth because there were a lot of kids there from Robinson.
They
Yeah,
got
you
some
wrote me,
kids coming
Carl.
up too.
Yeah, Carl, you were asking me who their quarterback was. Did you ever figure that out? I got to reach out to Coach Blair and see. But I know they graduated the Scaparetto, so I don't know who the starting quarterback is this year yet.
No, I mean that was the only team out of like the 12 teams that were there that I didn't see it because like when they were coming to field 1, I was back over at field 3 watching Woodson, McLean, Oakton again. Like that was kind of like a junior varsity squad for Oakton. They didn't have a lot of guys there, kind of like a B team. But Skyline, Roosevelt, I didn't see. I know they got some dudes because they got some kids signed up for our showcase too, including this linebacker Cody Freeze. But I swear there was like 40 kids from Robinson there.
Yeah,
oh wow,
there was a lot there. I mean, but Robinson's a good program, right? Usually they don't struggle with numbers over there.
Well, and it's good to see Robinson, kind of get into this, 7-on-7s, right? I remember back in the day, you'd see him at 7-on-7, if at all. And I guess you didn't need to because that wasn't their game. But Coach Blair is still trying to throw the ball. He started throwing the ball a lot last year by the halfway mark.
Set records, right? Set records.
He did set records.
Yeah,
all-time leading. I think at the end of the day, his quarterback and receiver became the all-time leading quarterback and receiver at Robinson.
Yeah, I mean
they just threw the ball more than anyone ever else had previously. Yeah. So, that's always fun, and I know that the kids like that. That's probably why he's got 40 kids coming out. They're like, "Oh, we're throwing the ball. I'm coming out."
Yeah.
Carl, so go ahead.
No, you were talking about the McLean player that looks like he got offers.
Yeah, so McLean, I was really impressed with them too. They actually, I saw them as they were leaving too. They would have advanced to the finals, but they didn't have enough points, so they got it's not that they lost, but they were going based off points, so they did really well. But Aiden Reed is their big time tight end. He has about 10. He actually told me 10 Division I offers. I talked to him personally there on Saturday. He's big, and I have him in one of my articles too. I have a video posted on there too. He's about 6'4", can run in open space. McLean's going to want to run double tight and run the rock this year. They're going to be tough up front, but he was impressive. This kid Alex, what's his name, Alex Schaffer. He's going to be a junior this year. They had him at tight end. He made a bunch of tough catches.
The one kid he made a ridiculous catch against Woodson, diving out like dragging the feet in the back of the end zone, away from going to the. I guess.
Did he have the gray shirt on?
Yeah.
That's him. That's him.
Really impressive catch on the sideline.
They got two
toe drag. Yeah, they looks like they've got 2 tight ends.
2 tight ends.
It sounds like this kid's mainly a D lineman because the kid plays D line.
And I asked him, I was like, well, why didn't you have him with the lineman challenge? And he goes, I want him to, get to learn the route tree and get him out there. I love what Coach Joe had to say about him. And, he's really impressive. If you watch his tape on the D line, but he's going to play a lot. He made a lot of catches there. And Lucas Jones, their quarterback, I thought was really good too. I thought he was one of the better quarterbacks there on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear you guys talking about McLean. I hear you guys talking about Wakefield. Man, look. Hey, Liberty District, look out, man. We might have a couple new sheriffs in town.
Well, I mean, that whole district, right, was a knockdown.
It was. Except last year, if you remember, McLean and Wakefield were kind of the two. There was like a 4-man race.
Yeah.
But McLean and Wakefield kind of, not this year. It looks like they kind of took their lumps last year, but they're coming in like gangbusters this year.
Yeah. Yeah, they look good. I mean, you always hope that these teams are able to, after having a tough year, are able to kind of, feel their way around and I thought.
But we knew that because remember Wakefield played all those tough games last year.
Yeah,
and even though they were coming out on the wrong end of a lot of them, we knew that something was brewing. Right.
Yeah, I agree. I remember watching them week 1 in that Monday afternoon game against Fairfax, and Fairfax ended up pulling away in the end, but Wakefield battled them for about 3.5 quarters. I could tell the vibe was like, okay, with Wakefield, it was like, we're there, but we're not there yet. We're close. We're not there.
Yeah. And like the scores last year with Wakefield, I mean, they took some lumps in some of the games, but they only lost to Langley 42-30. and 121-0. I mean, I mean, obviously they end up being double-digit losses, but
Right.
be in the game with them, at that point to not have it be blowouts at the end, kind of says something.
So
Now,
did you get a chance to watch Skyline at all? I know that's kind of out of your guys' territory, but did you get to watch Skyline at all? They were pretty good.
I did not. I did not. I wasn't. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch them. And where are they out of? Where's Skyline out of?
Hang on, I'm pulling up their information now. They're close to the West Virginia border. It's a beautiful place. I went.
So they
out
traveled
last year.
They traveled far to go to this thing, huh?
They love it, and they're one of the. Every year you'll see they're one of the best coach teams around. They made a deep playoff run last year, and they got a lot of kids coming back. Their quarterback, Deshaun Hanley, was really impressive. They have a nice young tight end, and Isaiah Lockhart, or excuse me, Marquise Lockhart. He wasn't there yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. It's Sunday, right? I've been out all day. It's still Sunday, right? It was yesterday. But Brady Lumpkin is a nice young kid there. But no, Skyline is pulling up their information out for you too.
I will say this about Skyline, even though obviously it's not
West Virginia is where they are. Sorry, Coach.
Yeah, even though it's not a Northern Virginia school, they are fans of the show and friends of the show. They tag us in a lot of stuff. They read a lot of our stuff. So shout out to the Skyline community. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a real good guy.
He's good, man. I talked to him at length on Saturday. He is a big fan of the show, and the Hawks were good. They made the Final Four as well. They were really impressive, and it didn't surprise me. I've gotten to know them and their team pretty well over this last year, and they got a lot of kids coming back. They're going to make another deep playoff run.
How big of a school is that? Do you know?
I'm looking up their schedule and their enrollment now. They play in the Northwestern Conference. They went 8-4, 6-2 in the conference last year.
I'm just curious, like relative to. I know it's West Virginia, but I'm just like relative to Virginia, what classification they would be if they were being out there. Probably
what
3A. Yeah,
they're class 3. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah.
They bowed out eventually to Thomas Jefferson in the semifinals of Class 3 or of Region B. I should say the quarterfinals they lost, but they, had a great run, and they think they got a lot of firepower coming back from last year's team. They think they could take that district, and it would be a great accomplishment. But if you guys they're out in Front Royal, Virginia.
It's Front Royal. So it is Virginia. I was thinking it was West Virginia. It is Virginia.
It's on the border. I went out there. And it's beautiful. I'm going to make a whole schedule of games this year, and I want to get out the Skyline, one of their games. It's quite the experience, and their fans, they love you guys. So, shout out Skyline.
Yeah, no, for sure.
893 students.
Wow. Well, that's impressive that they were in the Final Four with that many students. Oakton. So you talked about Oakton. I know they were missing a lot of guys. That's the first thing Mesa told me, too, was Oakton was down quite a few guys. I mean, you're down your stud quarterback and your stud receiver. Good luck. But it's good to have like you said, a lot of your backups show up and kind of get their feet wet and stuff. What do you guys think of Oakton?
Oh, like I said, when I watched them, I thought they looked good. I watched them twice early on. I watched them against Freedom, and then I watched them against Wakefield. Then they're back and forth against Wakefield, but still,
that's a good sign.
Thought they were back and forth with them.
Now Dalen Jones not there. That's the one big receiver, but apparently they have another big receiver. Was he there?
I'm not sure.
I keep hearing about some other guy. We always called Dalen Jones Megatron. They were saying that there might be another guy like Megatron over there. They got 2 Megatrons.
Oakton's got some dudes, and it could have been Preston Schwartz. It could have been Braden Vasquez. It could have been Enriquez. It could have been. It's not their Division I lineman, Wesley Lattice. It's not him, but they definitely had a I even talked to Coach Slay. He's like, we're just out here to compete. We're looking forward to our big event in June, but we're really working with a B squad right now. So I think it was more just like an install period for them, and I'll give them credit. Oakton looks a lot more comfortable offensively. I know it's early on 7-on-7, but I saw them a lot of their guys. A few weeks ago at the Maryland Prep Redzone 7-on-7, and they were going up against some legit competition. Jack Martin, He's looking like he's progressing in the right, trajectory. I'm going to see him this upcoming weekend. But yeah, Oakton looks a lot more comfortable offensively.
Yeah. I mean, and Martin's playing lacrosse too. Shout out to young Jack. I saw him at one of the lacrosse games earlier this season. So he's doing that too. So he's got his hands full. He's traveling, visiting colleges, doing 7-on-7s and trying to play lacrosse. So now one of the changes they made was, I think, at offensive, kind of play caller. I think for the upcoming season at Oakton. I don't know who's calling the offense and who's calling, if it's Coach Slay or Coach Pilson, perhaps.
Coach Slay was not calling the offense. It was another gentleman. I don't think it was Coach Pilson either.
Okay, all right.
Calling the offense. They ran that 5 wide, but I mean that's par for the course during 7-on-7.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody runs 5 wide, right? I mean,
that's true.
No one's giving it back in the block.
Right.
Real quick, it was nice to see freedom. It looks like, I know what everything they went through last year, not really having a full season. It was nice to see them have a squad. Yeah, they're going to still take their lumps, but they were competing as well too.
Yeah, and they have a few kids look like they can play. Like that. They have kids look like they can play for a little bit. So
let's talk about freedom for a second, because I know right before Carl, you came on, that's actually what we had just started to talk about. And Coach Ranga, he's got no bigger fans than us here. I mean, Mason and I, we talked about him all last season and kind of rooting for him to kind of turn things around over there. No easy task, but he's grinding and working hard. Hopefully we can get him on the show sometime, this summer maybe, and kind of talk about some of the challenges, he's faced over the last, year or so. But yeah, so you saw them play a couple games and they're kind of working some things out probably, right?
Yeah. But baby steps, right? Baby steps. They played some varsity games last year. Baby steps. They're hopefully they're going to play a full schedule this year.
Yeah, 100%.
Baby steps, right?
Groundbreaking new book by Dr. Leo Marvin. Baby steps.
Speaking of other schools, I wanted to give a shout out. We wouldn't be amiss if we didn't talk about the host Osbourn Park Yellow Jackets. They, Coach Holland, we talked about him, and shout out to him once again. His staff were great. But they I was impressed with some of their kids during 7-on-7.
Oh yeah, they looked really athletic. They looked really athletic. It looks like, I can't remember what their record was last year. I know if I remember correctly, I think Osbourn was the one who came out like gangbusters last year, right?
Osbourn was 6-4. Osbourn Park was 1-9. But Coach Holland was implementing a lot of new starters, and he has a lot of them back. I think they're gonna make. He's building there. He's building something special there. They have.
In fact, I remember, I think I watched them play, and they had a kid at corner who was really good. Like he wasn't bump a lot. He looked pretty impressive.
That is Jermaine Keith, Coach Holland. He's really high up on him. He's a class of 2028 kid. He is 6 foot, 170 pounds. Coach Holland's really high on him. Ahmad Ba, a class of 28 kid. He's a tough running back and a linebacker. He's 5'7", 186 pounds. In terms of the lineman challenge, though, they're big linemen. Osbourn Park, might have had the best line there, honestly. And there was
wow.
South County had some, was really impressive. Wakefield, I already talked about McRae and a couple other guys they had, but Osbourn Park really had some tough linemen. What's the kid's name? Abner Marina.
You brought up South County, and I saw kids with South County shirts on, but I didn't see any South County a 7-on-7. Did they just have guys lineman challenge? Did they not have anybody?
No, I didn't see them on the schedule. I did not see South County. I just saw their linemen.
Okay. I was just about to ask you guys, because I'm looking at the list, but this is the initial list that went out. So, but it's the initial list of teams that were there, and the South County logo was on it. So I wasn't sure if I want to see that offense.
I was looking confused because I saw guys with the South County t-shirts on. I was looking around. I didn't see any teams playing the 7-on-7 having the South County stuff on. So maybe that was it. Another team I watched is TJ. I saw TJ out there.
TJ.
I told you I liked their I thought their quarterback was good. He was skilled. I
watched that live.
He could spin it, and they had another receiver,
the lefty, right?
The lefty quarterback. I liked him a lot. and then they had a receiver that
They
played.
had this big receiver. I think he plays on their line. And I was looking at his tape today. This kid named Brian Bowers. He's a rising senior. He's about 6'3", 210 pounds. He looked like a stud. Now all of his tape is that defensive end and tackle, and I don't know. Maybe he plays that as a need, for their team. I don't know about him. I thought he was good.
Now I'm going to go out on a limb and say TJ probably has a lot of big kids.
That's why I didn't want to be mean.
They got a lot of smart kids.
So
but probably not a lot of size.
Well, you get a guy like that all of a sudden. I mean,
he was catching everything.
Yeah. I mean, you get a guy like that guy will get some, some Ivy League looks. You never know, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and shout out to Coach Kramer, by the way, from TJ. Reached out to us recently. Good guy. They're hosting a 7-on-7.
Yeah, that's like June 7th. I got that same message. That looks like an all-day thing too. So
yeah. He's trying to turn things around over there, man. Kudos to him.
I like that Bowers kid, man. I hope they give him some looks at tight end this year. I mean, I could understand your point now why he plays tackle, which he's good at that too, looking at his tape. But I hope they give him some reps on tight end or even at receiver.
Yeah, those kids are definitely student athletes. They are the definition of student athletes. I mean,
they're not Raiders, they go to class.
Wow. Shout out the silver and black. Wow.
That's all right. But that's when we were renegades, man. We need to bring that back, actually. I'm not hiding from that past.
Arbner Marina is the lineman from Osbourn Park that you want to remember. He is 6'3", just north of 300 pounds, rising senior. He's healthy again. He's a center and a guard. He's going to play on the defensive line for our coach Holland this year too. Great kid. He deserves some opportunities at the next level.
That's awesome.
Was Osbourn there?
No. I saw them. They're going to, Osbourne's. I told you a year ago they were on the rise, and I still feel that way. I saw them about a month ago.
I will get into this when we start doing the previews. The tough thing for Osbourn is they're in there with Battlefield, Gainesville, and Patriot, and then Region B has 1,000 teams in there. I mean, how many above 500 teams did not make the playoffs in Region B? I think it was like six teams who are 5, 6, and 4 like didn't make the playoffs. I mean, it's a killer in that thing. Now, the interesting thing's going to be we'll talk more about this in August, is what is the Cardinal going to look like? Lots of upheaval in the Cardinal district. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, what is that district going to look like in the Cardinal? So,
yeah, that's a good call. I think it's wide open. I think Woodbridge might be one to watch. I mean, I can't wait to get into this in July and August.
Colgan, new head coach. Forest Park, new head coach.
I mean, Hilton has a new everything.
Hilton, new head coach, right? 3 teams right there. We know that Woodbridge has lost their quarterback to St. Francis, the kid, the Power 5 kid.
Denari Hill. Yeah.
So they lost him to St. Francis. I mean, the Cardinal. The Cardinal. I don't know if you'd be surprised if any team won the Cardinal this year. I don't think.
Well, actually, but I got your answer. It's Garfield.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I'm
kidding me?
on the Red Wolf stuff.
Garfield graduated Herman Jackson.
They'll be fine.
They got a kid named Troy Hamlin's one of the best returning quarterbacks in the state.
He is.
Yeah, all those rushing yards, he'll get those too. Well, Marshall wasn't there, were they?
They were not.
They were not. Trying to go through my list. Yeah,
I'm looking at the list here, but it was the logo. It looked like a Marshall logo, so I couldn't tell who it was.
The 2 DC schools were Ballou and Roosevelt. I believe they.
And then McLean and Wakefield, Woodson and Robinson, Oakton, and I think that was it. I think there might have only been there been
Thomas Jefferson,
and then Jefferson,
and then Freedom.
And then Freedom
Park. Yeah, because I'm counting up the field. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields going on at a time. There's always one team on a bye.
Yeah. I mean, look, sounded like a great event. I had a ton of stuff going on Saturday. Now there's not one what's this coming Saturday? May 2nd, right? Because I'm sorry, May 3rd is this Saturday. May 3rd. I don't think now there's some of the what I guess the league ones that are kind of
Oh,
like
the Westfield's going on Saturday.
Westfield, some of the low key ones that kind of go all month.
Yeah.
But in terms of like 1 day tourneys, I think this is the one Saturday that we don't have one, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good for me because I'm getting Aiden on Saturday, so I can actually not miss another one. And then, but then I think the next 2 Saturdays, I think there's big tournaments.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the Saturday after the one after the third, right after the third,
Mother's Day weekend, there's not one either.
Not. And then the next weekend.
And then May 17th is the big one.
I would like to voice this really quick because this irks me on 7-on-7. When you have to ref your own games and coaches start arguing calls with each other, because as soon as you say, "Oh no, my kid was in my," you start arguing a call against another team. Guess what's going to happen the next time they can make a call? They're going to make the call against you, and then it becomes a huge thing. And that's why I've talked to you before about this, Dash, and I don't know if I told you this, Carl. I have seen more fights in 7-on-7 than any football game I've ever been to, especially when you have to ref it yourself. Because as soon as you start making calls for yourself, they're going to start making calls for themselves. And then it's going to become a big thing. The kids get all chirpy, So
yeah, no refs or the occasional student ref. When they do the student refs,
yeah,
those get out of hand really quick too.
Oh yeah, like
you have no idea what I saw like 2 weeks ago. At this is I love prep to death, but this was a prep Redzone event a couple weeks ago that I was breaking up. I've told you guys both this. I was breaking up adults fighting adults screaming at children, just a whole mess. Adults threatening other refs. A ref, at one point, one of the refs, he walked off the field. He's like, I'm not putting up with this. And I didn't blame him.
Yeah.
But that's just going back to what I said when I first came on with Coach Holland. They just, even without the no refs involved, they did a great job. Yeah, there was trash talking, but he kept the parents off the sidelines, which you always have to do with these 7-on-7s because they don't do. I mean, you never see them at high school games, but 7-on-7s they tend to get field access easier if you're not careful, and there was none of that. So shout out to Coach Holland once again. I thought they did a great job.
It was really well run. It's well run.
Yeah.
I was just noticing that I'd see a team.
Yeah,
all go in their favor. So the other team would do that. And then all of a sudden the kids get chirpy. And like you were saying, so I have had one in my life bench clearing brawl during a real football game. One. I have one. And it was fucking off. It was awful. There was 5 straight summers where I was at a tournament where you had a full out bench clearing brawl. 5 straight summers. Like all the games I've coached, I've had one real life one. And there were 5 straight summers where somebody would, because the problem is, so you have like the South County one, right? And I mentioned the Westfield one, where no one really keeps score. There's no like standings.
That's truly developmental. Those are truly developmental.
Yeah, you're playing for 25 minutes. As soon as you start keeping score, football coaches by nature are competitive. And once you start saying there are points being kept and seeding is going to happen, you're gonna end up with a lot of problems. And so Osbourn Park seemed to really have that under control. They really did a good job. It seemed to went off really well. We talked about Coach Aziz. It seemed like, and Coach Aziz had 1,000 people at their tournaments at those hayfield tournaments we went to, and he seemed to it seemed to stay off pretty well without a hitch. But yeah, it definitely just ref it as down the middle as you can. If a coach says he was in, all right, man, he was in. Just the funny thing is, I always think to myself, you start arguing, and if you're on the offense, you're like, no, let him score so you can go back on offense because that's what you're here to work on. Let him go do that. Just flip the field. So, yeah. Anyway, just my soapbox I stand on a little bit.
Well, fun stuff though. It seemed like it was like a good weekend for you guys. Catching it. Now, I got to ask you guys because we talked about it last week. As you were leaving Osbourn Park, what did we do? Cookout? Roy Rogers? Where'd you guys? Anyone get any grub on the way out in Manassas? Mesa? You and I spoke. You told me you were going to go to Cookout.
No, you told me we were going to go to Cookout.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I guess my invitation, as usual, slips through the mail. I got lost in the mail.
I didn't even go. Don't worry, Carl. Neither one of you guys got grub on the way out, though, somewhere?
I did it. Osbourne Park had concessions open. I got a couple hot dogs.
Oh, you got something to eat. Okay, you got a couple dogs there. Okay.
I stopped at Dunkin' Donuts to get an espresso. So, yeah, there's that. Okay. No fancy barbecue.
Mason got Burger King. Mason's a Burger King guy.
I went home.
Went home. That's boring. Boo.
Went home and watching the draft with my daughter. My daughter's big in the draft now. She was on Michael
That's
Williams.
Awesome.
Michael Williams film. She was like, "Oh, I liked him." I was watching every time someone got drafted. She'd look up his highlights on YouTube. So
was she saying, "Dad, we're gonna get a quarterback because Brock Purdy's overrated. Brock Purdy's overrated and he's terrible."
My daughter likes Brock Purdy. She likes Brock Purdy.
Oh man, that's fantastic. Well, gentlemen, we'll be doing this again soon. I guess after the next 7-on-7s in a couple of weeks. So the next big one, May 17th, and that one is who did we say it was again?
That's Garfield.
May 17th is Garfield.
Don't forget the showcase next Sunday for Prep Redzone, and we got in the Loudoun and the Prince William County showcases the week after that.
Oh, that's right. The Prince William.
You're going Mother's Day weekend. Bold.
Yeah.
Is Mother's Day weekend next weekend?
No, the weekend after that.
I think it's a Prince William. Prince William last year was during the middle of the week, wasn't it?
No, both are Loudoun's and Prince William's are like the 13th and 14th, so it's like a Tuesday and Wednesday or Wednesday.
Oh, then you got no worry there, no problem.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Prince William's one, and then those showcases, both Loudoun and PWC get a lot of coaches there, and then Garfield will have the 7-on-7 on the 17th, and then June Oakton will have the big one. Thomas Jefferson's is June 7th. Oakton's is June 14th. And Flint Hill will have a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Flint Hill, that's right. They have the kind of seasonal one going, right? They'll play several times over there.
They usually do it on Sunday afternoons, and they're awesome facility.
Now, I wonder if St. James is going to get back to doing one again. I know when we talked to Coach Overton earlier this offseason, he said they want to go back to doing it again, but probably wouldn't happen this year. But I always love theirs, and I love when they would do it in like February, March. They were the first ones to do it, right?
I want to get the Prep Redzone showcase there in January too. Because I think that would be great.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, got to use that field, right? You got to use that field in the winter months, right? When it's too awful outside.
And they have speaking of St. James, don't they have those college showcases coming up too, like the 29th?
They do.
That's right. So are they? And I wonder, are those invite only? Are they charging people to go to those? What are they doing with those? I wonder.
I should text Coach Issa right now. He'd probably reply back in 2 seconds.
He's a good guy.
I don't know for sure because they will. I mean, they're already getting studs there already. So I'm sure they're going to show. I got it on my calendar. I got the Loudoun Academy versus St. James Academy. That's bragging rights, Academy bragging rights. Late in the season, I got that one ready to go. All right, gentlemen. Well, what's up there towards Garfield? Maybe we make some plans to get some grub. They got a cookout or a Roy Rogers out that way?
No.
Mesa? What do they got out
there? There used to be a Fuddruckers right across the street. It is sans shut down.
No, they got an Outback. No, they got an Outback in that little mall. What's that name of that mall out there?
They got a Smoky Bones out there?
Yeah, we can find one. I mean, you guys can go and not invite me again, but that's fine. I
didn't even go.
You guys do it. It's your world. I'm just passing through.
The Fuddruckers would be key. I told you there's only 2 left now. You got one in Dulles, in the Ashburn area, right?
DC, right?
And then you got a DC one. The DC one I heard my brother told me, he said was spot on. They had the real fries. They had the real cheese, the cheese dip. They had the big burgers. They were buttered. You know how they used to butter the inside of the burgers, the buns? Oh, man. You can't get a better burger. You ever had Fuddruckers? They have those up in Pennsylvania there, Carl?
Yes, I've had Fuddruckers.
They all closed around here. We used to have tons of them around here.
There was one right in Fairfax. They used to take my little man there all the time.
Yeah, they had one in Fairfax, and they had one in Annandale, and they both closed. If I would have known that, I would have freaking been out there picketing.
You make Pennsylvania sound like it's out in the country or something.
Actually, the NFL draft next year is in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, right? Yeah.
It is. And I didn't look. Are they doing it in the stadium? Is that what they want to do? I didn't look.
I would hope so. Around that part of Pittsburgh is beautiful, where the stadiums are, right on the river with the bridge.
I'm going to tell Aiden, and him and some of his buddies should go to that, because I mean they're 20 minutes outside of Pittsburgh.
I mean, it's a great. I mean, this is coming from someone I don't care for Pittsburgh as a sports fan, but it's a great sports town. It's gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, Green Bay drew record numbers. No reason Pittsburgh won't.
Right. So, that's Green Bay.
Yeah.
Nothing in Green Bay. Not even an Applebee's. Even Marshawn Lynch said he would take an Applebee's over nothing. All right, gentlemen. Well, it's been fun, guys. We'll do it again in a couple of weeks.
All right, gentlemen. Have a good one.
All right. Well, from Carl Frederick, the Adam Schefter of NoVA, Coach Mesa, and Coach Dash, we'll see you guys next time on All Hitches.
See ya.